誰が本物のロレックスなんて必要とする。強盗に狙われるだけじゃないか。
これはチャーリー・マンガーが語った有名な一言です。
彼にとって大切なのはブランドや見せかけの派手さではなく、本当の価値を見抜くことでした。
98歳でこの世を去るまで、彼は常識を覆す数々の発言を残しました。今回ご紹介するのは、その中でも投資家たちに最も衝撃を与えた瞬間です。では、マンガ本人の言葉をお聞きください。
Who in the hell needs a real Rolex watch so you can get mugged for it? You know, I mean, yet everybody wants to have a pretentious expenditure, and that helps drive demand in our modern capitalist society. My advice to the young people is don't go there. The hell with the pretentious expenditure.
What worries you most about our economy and the stock market? And on the other hand, what makes you optimistic?
Well, you have to be optimistic about the competency of our technical civilization. But there again, it's an interesting thing. If you take the last 100 years, 1922 to 2022, most of modernity came in that 100 years. And in the previous 100 years, that got another big chunk of modernity. And before that, things were pretty much the same for the previous thousands of years. Life was pretty brutal and short and limited and what have you. No printing press, no air conditioning, no modern medicine, no. Say first you got the steam engine, the steamship, the railroad, and a little bit of improvement in farming and a little bit of improvement in plumbing. That's what you got in the 100 years that ended in 1922. The next 100 years gave us widely distributed electricity, modern medicine, modern pharmaceuticals, the automobile, the airplane, the records, the movies, the air conditioning in the South. If you wanted 3 children, you had to have 6 because 3 died in infancy. That was our ancestors. Think of the agony of watching half your children die. It's amazing how much achievement there's been in civilization in these last 200 years, and most of it in the last 100 years. Now, the trouble with it is that the basic needs are pretty well filled. In the United States, the principal problem of the poor people is they're too fat. That is a very different place from what happened in the past. In the past, they were on the edge of starving. And what happens is, it's really interesting, is with all this enormous increase in living standards and freedom and diminishment of racial inequities and all the huge progress that has come, people are less happy about the state of affairs than they were when things were way tougher. And that has a very simple explanation. The world is not driven by greed, it's driven by envy. And the fact that everybody's 5 times better off than they used to be, they take it for granted. All they think about is somebody else having more now, and it's not fair that he should have it and they don't. That's the reason that God came down and told Moses that you couldn't envy your neighbor's wife or even his donkey. I mean, even the old Jews were having trouble with envy. And so it's built into the nature of things. But I can't change the fact that a lot of people are very unhappy and feel very abused after everything's improved by about 600% because there's still somebody else who has more. I have conquered envy in my own life. I don't envy anybody. I don't give a damn what somebody else has. But other people are driven crazy by it. And other people play to the envy in order to advance their own political careers. I like the religion of the old Jews. I like the people who were against envy, not the people who were trying to profit from it. But if you stop to think of the pretentious expenditures of the rich. Who in the hell needs a Rolex watch so you can get mugged for it? Yet everybody wants to have a pretentious expenditure, and that helps drive demand in our modern capitalist society. My advice to the young people is don't go there. The hell with the pretentious expenditure. I don't think there's much happiness in it, but it does drive the civilization we actually have. Steve Pinker of Harvard is one of our smart modern academics. He constantly points out how everything's gotten way better. But the general feeling about how fair it is has gotten way more hostile. And as it gets better and better, people are less and less satisfied. That is weird, but that's what's happened.
And what's the best advice you have for individual investors to optimally deal with the negative impact of inflation other than owning quality equities?
It may be that you have to choose the least bad of a bunch of options. That frequently happens in human decision making. And the mongers have Berkshire stock, Costco stock, Chinese stock, Sululu, a little bit of Daily Journal stock, and a bunch of apartment houses. Do I think that's perfect? No. Do I think it's okay? Yes. I think the great lesson from the mongers is you don't need all this damn diversification. That's plenty of. You're lucky if you've got 4 good assets. I think the finance professors and that sell the idea that perfect diversification is professional investment. If you're trying to do better than average, you're lucky if you have 4 things to buy. And to ask for 20 is really asking for egg in your beer. It's very few people can have enough brains to get 20 good investments.
What are your thoughts on going to cash today and waiting for better opportunities to deploy that cash over the next 12 months? Is it a sensible idea in your mind?
In my whole adult life, I've never hoarded cash waiting for better conditions. I've just invested in the best thing I could find. And I don't think I'm going to change now. And a lot of the buying is not by people who really plan to own them. A lot of it is fee-driven buying. Private equity buys things so they can have more fees by having more things under management. Well, of course, if you invest in marketable securities, you have the risk that they'll go down and you'll lose money instead of make it. But if you hold a depreciating currency, that's losing purchasing power. On balance, we prefer the risks we have to those we're avoiding, and we don't mind a tiny little bit of margin debt.
Carl Moscatello, who says crypto is a $2 trillion asset class. Are you willing to admit you missed something?
Well, I certainly didn't invest in crypto. I'm proud of the fact I've avoided it. It's like, some venereal disease or something. I just regard it as beneath contempt. Some people think it's modernity, and they welcome a currency that's so useful in extortions and kidnappings and tax evasion. And of course, the envy, everybody has to create his own new currency. And I think that's crazy too. So I'm not having any, I wish it had been banned immediately. And I admire the Chinese for banning it. I think they were right and we've been wrong to allow it.
暗号資産は集団的狂気だ。マンガーのこの一言は喝采と同時に強烈な反発も呼びました。投資を賭け事にするのか、それとも未来への資本形成にするのか。その答えは誰でもなくあなた自身に委ねられています。そしてマンガーは生涯を通じてこう実践しました。現金を握りしめてチャンスを待つな。その時に手に入る最善のものを買え。シンプルな行動力こそが最大の武器だと証明してみせたのです。この動画が価値あるものだと感じましたら、チャンネル登録と高評価で応援してください。真の富を築く知恵を一人でも多くの方に届けてまいります。次回の動画でまたお会いしましょう。